So that when I found that out, that was kind of interesting because I put all this together. Like, I told you I was up till 4 in the morning, so I'm tired out that boss. So again, so John Darby and others came and witnessed what was going on there, and they said that it was demonic, right? So she had her vision or whatever in the 1830s, and it was placed into 2 books, but then they would purposely leave out certain excerpts from her vision or whatever. So a lot of that was really interesting, but the other person, now we're going to John Darby. He's known as the father of modern dispensationalism and futurism. Now, especially the way I was brought up in the church, quote unquote, you know, it's always, you know, that was that dispensation. We're in the dispensation of grace. That's what he's the father of. All this dispensationalism and this and that, but it's not really founded in the Bible. Like you won't find dispensationalism anywhere in the Bible. He established the Church of Ireland, and the following year he was ordained as a priest. So he was ordained as a deacon, then he became ordained as a priest. Now we both know that we all know that that's Catholicism. So that's the mother of all harlots. So Darby has been credited with originating the pre-tribulation rapture theory, wherein Christ will suddenly remove his bride, the church, from the world to its heavenly destiny before the judgments of the tribulation. And he's the one that saw the secret rapture. So notice, you know, if you ever do any research into the church fathers, the church fathers, according to Christendom, aren't Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob, aren't any of the 12 patriarchs. They're, for lack of a better term, Europeans, because Christianity and all of that has become philosophized and sensualized and romanticized, and you know, they just try to get you in that good feeling and thinking about all this stuff. Yeah, you know, because Elohim, he's only love and love, but they, you know, look over scripture that says that he loves judgment,
right? That
he's a man of war. So that's really interesting. So we're going to go over real quickly the definitions of the different types of tribulation or rapture or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so pre-tribulation distinguishes the rapture from the second coming of Yahushua HaMashiach to earth, mentioned in the Gospel of Matthew, 2 Thessalonians, and Revelation. This view holds that the rapture will precede the 7-year tribulation, which will culminate in Christ's second coming and be followed by a 1,000-year messianic kingdom. So again, the pre-tribulation, so there's pre-tribulation, there's mid-tribulation, and there's post-trib. So pre-tribulation is prior to this alleged 7-year period. Mm-hmm. You know, we've been told, yeah, when the 7-year tribulation, the tribulation is allegedly for 3.5 years, but people don't have an understanding. And the Most High did show me what was going on here recently, so I'm grateful for that, because I was thinking the same. I used to think the same thing, but you got to start erasing the Christian dogma, because it's theology. It's again, it's philosophy. It's what man thinks what the book is actually saying, but they don't actually read all the scriptures in context. Because how do we read the scriptures?
Prayer.
Okay.
Precept upon precept, line upon line, mm-hmm. Here a little, there a little. Mm-hmm. Witnesses.
How many?
3, 2 or 3, mm-hmm. And then context. Context,
and then in certain instances, the history. You gotta have the history, so right. Because they don't use that, and you know they call it hermeneutics. So that's pre-trib. So let me go post-tribulation, after the 7-year period. In the post-tribulation, premillennial position, the rapture would be identical to the second coming of Yahushua, or as a meeting in the air with Yahushua that immediately precedes his return to the earth before a literal millennium. The post-tribulation position places the rapture at the end of the tribulation period. Post-tribulation writers define the tribulation period in a generic sense as the entire present age, or in a specific sense of a period of time preceding the second coming of Yahushua. So that's pre and that's post. Now, the mid-tribulation position espouses that the rapture will occur at some point in the middle of what is popularly called the tribulation period, or during Daniel's 70th week. The tribulation is typically divided into two periods of 3.5 years each. Mid-tribulationists hold that the saints will go through the first period, beginning of travail, but will be raptured into heaven before the severe outpouring of Elohim's wrath in the second half of what is popularly called the Great Tribulation. So, again, because this is what happens when people that shouldn't be teaching you are teaching you, for lack of a better term, when your oppressors teach you, it's going to lead to confusion. That's why there's so many different denominations in Christianity. That's why we have to get out of that and just read the book and be believers of what the book says, not what man says. Let Elohim be true and every man a liar, right? Okay. So the last thing real quick, the term rapture and its beliefs did not occur until the 17th to 19th centuries respectively. So that means that the prophets prior to that didn't foresee a rapture. You know, at least not in the modern day sense. Now there were other writings with different people where, you know, they knew that there was going to be a second coming and the Most High through Yahushua was coming back or whatever to save, you know what Christians say, believers or whatever. But it wasn't, the rapture wasn't even coined a phrase. So when I was looking at all this, I'm like, this don't even make any sense. Anybody who does just a little bit of research can find this stuff. Just a little bit of research. So most of people's beliefs of the rapture come from, of course, Paul, because Paul is one of the biggest stumbling blocks in the world, because people don't have an understanding of Paul, don't know where he's pulling from, and they just take things verbatim when Paul was the most learned in the scriptures of all the apostles, because, you know, he learned at the feet of Gamaliel. You know, he can recite Torah, you know, front and back from memory. Like, Paul was that dude. That's why he said, I'm a Hebrew of the Hebrews. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews, because Paul was that dude. So, firstly, we're going to go to 1 Thessalonians 4, and we are going to read verses 15 through 17. Verses 15 through 17. And it reads, For this we say unto you, by the word of Yahuwah, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Yahuwah shall not prevent them which are asleep. For Yahuwah himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, to meet Yahuwah, or the Master, or Yahusha, in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Master, or Yahusha, Yahuwah. Okay, so that's one. I'm just setting up the main defenses of this. You know, how I like to set them up, and then we come back and we hit all these points. Now we're going to 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 through 7. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 through 7. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who will now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. Okay. Now we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 15, verses 51 and 52. 1 Corinthians 15, 51 through 52. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In that rapture. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and shall be changed. be changed.
Stop eating them chips. Yeah,
And then where they get this whole 7-year period for, the tribulation / rapture, is from the book of Daniel. Daniel 7 verses 25, and then Daniel 9 verses 26 through 27 predominantly. And I'll just read these real quick. And he shall speak great, Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, to think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. That's that 3.5 years that they're talking about. Right? A time, times, and a dividing of times. That's that 3.5 year period. Daniel 9 verses 26 and 27. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah, or Mashiach, be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with the flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. This is where they're getting this 7-year period, for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So this is where they get the rapture. This is where they get the 7-year period, or the 3.5 year period, pre, mid, and post tribulations. Right there. That's where they come from. All right. Let's go to the next slide. Wait a minute. Did I go on this? Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to start hitting 2 Thessalonians 3 through 7. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, whoso opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Now, excuse me. What we're going to focus on, which I think I accidentally copy and pasted the wrong one on that one, or I accidentally deleted it. Yeah, because it should have been 1 Thessalonians first. I'll go on it. Okay.
What did you
So,
do?
my bad. So we're actually going to 1 Thessalonians verse 4, verses 15 through 17. And we're going to focus on, firstly we're going to focus on verse 16. For Yahuwah himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. So who is the dead in Christ? Or Hamashiach? Who are they?
The dead in Christ?
Yes.
Let's see. Those who already left the earth, maybe?
Those who are left earth? Okay.
I don't know.
Because with this rapture thing, they just say people who are believers in Christ, all of a sudden just
The dead, and they have
just
to be
wake
dead
up.
first, though, right?
Right. The dead. Yeah, you're right. So the people who died that were believers in quote unquote Christ are just gonna, get up, and then those of us that are alive and remain are gonna all just get sucked up, beam me up, Scotty moment type of thing, Star Trek. So let's see who the dead in Christ are, or Hamashiach are. I don't know why that one was there. So we're gonna go to Revelations 20 verses 4 through 6.
Revelation 20.
Okay. And it reads, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with the Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests of Elohim and of Hamashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So the dead in Christ are those that were not just that believed, that were, it said that died, that were beheaded, that died because they believed in it.
Wow.
Like the apostles, and many others that were killed, martyred because of that. So when people think about a rapture, notice how it said, those that were beheaded for the witness of Yahusha and for the word of Elohim, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. Those are the ones that are going to wake up with those of us that are alive. But people just believe, my mama, she was, or my auntie, she was a good Christian, so I know, when this rapture comes, I'm going to see them get up. But you see the criteria, you see what it says? It doesn't say that. It says those that died, that were martyred for, that made their vesture, their clothes white through the blood of Yahusha. Those are the ones that are going to wake up. And then they get to become priests of Elohim and of Hamashiach. So there's a few things, and there was only one nation that was created to be priest of Elohim. That's Yisrael. That's Israel. A lot of people don't. We got to get out of this, thinking people of all different races and colors, and this and that is going to get, again, this magical Stargate SG-1 type of thing that just happens. That's not what's going to happen. So those of us that are alive are going to see the dead that were martyred for the work of Yahusha. And we will reign with Yahusha 1,000 years. That's not everybody that you think is a good Christian that died, or that was a good person that died. That's not, that it doesn't exist. That's a lie. So again, we're just trying to kill a lot of these traditions of men. Wow. Okay, so now that we know who the dead in Christ are, or Hamashiach are, let me make sure. Let me go back real quick. Yeah, we'll get to the clouds later. I'll come back and we'll get over the clouds in a little bit. Just want to make sure. So we'll come back to that. So now we're going to 2 Thessalonians 3-7. And we're going to focus on verses 3 and 4. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the man of sin is the son of perdition. And people are thinking that this is one man, and again, it's going to happen in a 7-year period, 3.5 years, yada, yada, yada. Times and abundance of times. Whoso opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim. So that's what we're going to focus on.
You gonna make the sound effect?
Don't judge. Oh. Don't you judge. Right. Okay, so those are the ones we're really going to focus on. And also we're going to focus on 5. Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So he's saying that the man of sin hasn't been revealed, but he says that the mystery of iniquity is already working. So what is iniquity?
I don't know. I can't put it into words.
Okay. Iniquity is another word for sin, but iniquity is the guilt or the punishment of sin, technically by definition. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to keep going. So we went over the dead in Mashiach. chariots just yet. Am I
Wash
doing
your
this?
hands. You flush the toilet.
That's what happens when you do it at 4 in the morning. Okay, because I'll come back to the chariots. I kind of wanted to end it with the chariots. So again, so now what does perdition mean?
Predition. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Predition.
Perdition? Mm-hmm.
Predition.
Okay. So, perdition. The word perdition occurs in the Bible 8 times. It means to lose, to destroy, ruin, destruction. So the man of sin is also the man of ruin and the man of destruction. The man of sin is the man of ruin and destruction, and he's the man that destroys or makes desolate. I don't really want to. That's basically the gist of it, because I had other definitions of it. That's the main one now. So when Paul is talking and he's saying, you know, have I not foretold you? And he's saying these different things in these scriptures. Where is Paul pulling from? Because now we know that the New Testament wasn't quote unquote wrote then, but the apostles still knew of the teachings of Yahushua, right? And of course, he could also go to the Old Testament, because almost everything he put was from the Old Testament. But Paul is actually literally almost indirectly or directly quoting from what Yahushua said when he was walking as a man on this earth. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Matthew 24, and we're going to read verses 4, 11 through 12, and 24.
24.
When you get to it, you can go ahead and read them.
Okay, number 4 and then 11. Okay, and Joshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
Hold on, stop right there. So Paul says in 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 through 7. So Paul says in 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 through 7, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin or perdition, no destruction, ruin, makes desolate. Right? So read that again.
And Joshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
That's exactly what Paul just said. Let no man deceive you. Okay, keep going.
And then number 11.
Yep.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
Keep going.
I don't know.
It's 11 and 12.
Oh, 11 and 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
And in verse 7 he says, the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Paul is literally pulling, you got to be careful. That's why I say you got to be careful with Paul. Because Paul, he's letting you know who he's referencing when he's speaking. A lot of times we don't pay attention. And let's see, was it that one? What else was it? Oh, verse 24.
24, right? Okay. For there shall arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, that shall deceive the very elect.
That was the whole point. The deception. You know, the deception was real. So now, we're going to go to, if you don't mind reading, Mark 13.
Mark 13.
We're going to read verses 5 through 6,
5 through 6.
then 14, 22, and then, well, basically 23 through 27. 22 through 27, my bad.
You said 22 through 27?
When you get it, go ahead.
Okay. Oop, okay. Alright, 5 through 6. And Joshua answered them, began to say, take heed, lest any man deceive you. That was exactly the same thing. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
14.
But when ye see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not. Let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains.
So he just said, when the abomination that maketh desolate. Now, the son of perdition we just read as one that is the man of sin, there's the one that makes things, or that ruins things, or that destroys things, or that makes things desolate. It's interesting that he says it. Okay, keep going.
22. For false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and shall shew signs and wonders to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. But take heed, behold, I have foretold you all things. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Ooh. And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven.
Okay, so now he said he's going to gather his elect from the four corners. His elect. Not all Christians. Like, there's no scripture where he literally says, you know, I'm going to come back and I'm going to save Christians or Muslims or this and that. Like, again, we're trying to break these strongholds down. Again, the mystery of iniquity already works, because how many false prophets have we been seeing?
Right.
in Christianity and you know the Hebrew community and whatever you want to call it, they're everywhere, especially on TV. Okay. Now, Luke 21, verse 8, 11, 17, excuse me, 17 and 21 through 28.
Okay, 8. Let me just read.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
And he said, take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. 17, okay. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Christians are going to be hated for all men? Who is he talking to? He's talking to the Israelites, right?
Yes, it is his elect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 17 and 21 through 28.
Mm-hmm.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vigilance. Did I say that
Vengeance.
right? Vengeance, thank you. That are things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for thou shalt be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Wait, wrath upon who?
Wrath upon this people.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Okay.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be laid away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Remember that one. Trodden down. Remember that one, because that's going to come back later. Okay, did you read it all, or you still reading?
I don't know which way I'm supposed to go to.
Oh, you're supposed to go through 28.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not done yet. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
For everyone's redemption draweth nigh, or the nation of Israel's redemption draws nigh?
The nation of Israel.
That's who he's talking to. That's that other hermeneutic called context, right? That's who he's talking to. He's not talking to everybody. Okay. Now, briefly, I'm going to go over this because this was really already answered since we read Revelations 20. 1 Corinthians 15 verses 51 through 52. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. We know that the dead in Mashiach that are asleep, that in the rising of those that died for the testimony to Yahusha, right? So we shall all be changed. That's talking about those of us that are alive and that are doing the work with Yahusha, and those that died in Hamashiach. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised, incorruptible, and we shall be changed. So there's really even no point in going over that. So just to double verify that, we're going to go over a few scriptures real quick. Okay, so just because a lot of people think that, the quote-unquote church has replaced the Israelites or whatever, whatever you want to say. I mean, they can come in, and the Most High, He loves the stranger, He loveth the stranger, as the scriptures say. Isaiah 40:41, yet now hear, O Yaakov, my servant, and Yasharel, whom I have chosen. Isaiah 45:4, for Yaakov, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect. I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. Isaiah 65:22. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. Psalms 89:3. There were so many of them. I don't even put these because I could have just done a lesson just over that. Psalms 89:3. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto my servant, and to David my servant. So chosen, elect. Anytime you see those, it's talking about the literal people. Mm-hmm. Now we know that all Israel is not Israel, and things of that nature. But I had to show you that because we got to break something. We're still trying to break down strongholds, right? So now, I'm actually going to go back because this whole rapture, fictitious, we all just, we're just all of a sudden, in the Left Behind movies, people don't even go up. You just see clothes just left everywhere.
Right.
If y'all have watched, just all of a sudden, people, like even astronauts, astronauts or helicopter pilots or whatever, next thing you know, they just disappeared. So everything's crashing, vehicles, this and that. That's not biblical.
Right.
That's literally never happened, ever in the Bible. And the Most High, He does not change. So, how do you think the Most High, because, it says the sun's going to be darkened, the moon's not going to give her light, and then, we start seeing Yahusha coming back. So how is He going to gather His elect from the four winds?
He's just going to reel them in.
I don't know.
I mean, how?
How?
Now, one thing a lot of us, that we've come to knowledge of, we were born into this deception, right? Because, again, a lot of people are waiting for a 7-year tribulation period that doesn't exist. A lot of people are believing that there's going to be this rapture, that the word rapture is nowhere even in the book. And is there anything in the Bible that would let you think that there is some type of way that we would end up getting, for lack of a better term, I mean, because, we could go to Isaiah, was it 14? And it talks about, like, in some cases and different prophecies that, ships of Tarshish will come and bring the children from far. So we know that there's going to be a physical salvation by man helping us once, the kingdom is starting to be established in the physical realm. But if Yahushua is coming back and He's gathering His elect from the four corners, how does He do it? That's what I'm asking. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to be a rapture. It's not going to be a left behind thing. Matter of fact, if this computer will let me, I'm going to read one thing, 2 Ages 13, because we were always taught, no, when we see, whatever this guy is come and stop the sacrifice from being made in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem being encompassed in there, yeah, we got to flee to the mountain. So why, if Yahushua was going to save people from in a rapture, from a tribulation,
What's the purpose of fleeing?
what? There it is.
Right.
There it is. That's it. Well, it makes no sense. So he's going to save people, but he's going to tell you to flee to the mountain. Or if you're on the top of the house, don't go down. Or if you're outside the city, he said, don't go into the city, because literally, which I still got to upload it. When me and Man went over it, Jerusalem literally got compassed with armies. Yeah, there were predominantly Roman, but there were Arabian armies in there. There were Syrian armies that were part of it as well. They literally got surrounded all the way about, and then they actually built a wall to starve them out. Literally, that's already happened. So if Yahushua is going to save people from a tribulation, and he said that was going to be the worst tribulation that had happened, right? Why didn't he save them? And why did he tell them not to come here? That don't add up. It don't make any sense. It don't add up at all. So how, when Yahushua comes back, again, how is he going to save his people? Okay. So, because it says, like, it talks about clouds, right? And people literally think, yeah, we're just going to float up in the air and we're just going to be in clouds. And you're like, a cloud can't hold a person. I mean, does that make sense to anybody, or am I crazy?
No.
Like, what person can a cloud? Now, the Most High, he can make a cloud hold somebody if he wanted to, but a cloud can't hold nobody. It's water. So how do you travel in water?
By a boat or a ship.
By what?
A boat or a ship.
A ship. Why do you think they've had movies like Armageddon, Independence Day, all this stuff? There's a big alien spaceship that comes. Why do you think that is?
They probably know more than what they're teaching.
And they're trying to program us to want to fight and war against him. We were born into this deception, because when whatever, however many ships, because there's going to be many, and we're about to go over that ends up coming. Matter of fact, June, can you pull up the book of Enoch? Just read that chapter 2. It's just got one verse. And can you go to Jude and just read Jude, where it talks about when Yahushua comes, he'll come with thousands of his saints. And I'm going to try to find, let me find one, because I just thought about Joshua now. And while y'all are doing that, because it's going to be, that's the only way to quickly get anywhere, because we know the only way you can fly in something, it has to be some type of ship, or what they say plane, right? But that's an aircraft or a spaceship, something that flies. Because we know that in the sky, that's what the firmament is made of, what? Water. That's why I'm saying all these things, right? Mm-hmm. So let's get to the clouds. So Revelations 1:7, behold, he cometh with the clouds. There's another one where they get it from. And every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so. Amen. So how, if he's just in a cloud, how in the world can everybody see him? Clouds ain't that big. Like, that don't make no sense.
Cloud is not going to hold cover.
Exactly. There's something coming. So 2 Kings 6 verse 17. And Elisha prayed and said, Yahuwah, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And Yahuwah opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Because what was happening was, like, they were surrounded, or they thought that they were surrounded or whatever, and the young man that was with him could not tell that the chariots of the Most High was all around them, because he hadn't gotten that spiritual awakening yet, right? So now I'm going to jump down to Exodus 13. Exodus 13 verse 21. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. What cloud do you know has fire in it? That don't make any. Like, because we don't think, because we get all these people telling us what to think. Because there is no cloud that has fire in it, you know.
Right.
There's smoke from a fire, but there's not a cloud that's fire. We don't think it's some type of spacecraft, whatever you want to call it, right? Because it's got to be actually it's probably interdimensional, because there's different realms or whatever, you know, from the Book of Enoch. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go to Zechariah, and I'm gonna go to Zechariah 6, verses 1 through 5. And I turned, now this is a vision or whatever given to Zechariah, and I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots out from between 2 mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. The first chariot were red horses, and the second chariot black horses, and then the third chariot white horses, and the fourth chariot grizzled and bay horses. Then I answered and said unto the Malachim that talked with me, what are these, my master? And the Malachim answered and said unto me, these are the 4 spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before Yahuwah of all the earth. So clouds are synonymous with chariots, right? And in the chariots it says that these are the spirits that are going before the Most High, right? And then who's scattered to the 4 corners of the earth? Yehuda predominantly, but Israel. All of our people are scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. That's another one of the main reasons why these spirits are going to each of these corners, you know, because there's books on everybody that's being written, you know, even as we speak right now. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Psalms 68:17. And if y'all want the slides once we're done with this portion of it, I'll send that to y'all as well.
Do that.
Say what?
I said do that.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. I put this up together last night.
What was I looking for in Jude?
Thousands of his. It'll say something about thousands. You'll say, I can't.
We're at me now.
Just Enoch 2. It's only got 1 verse.
Okay, let me see. I think I just read that.
So I'm gonna read this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The chariots of Elohim are 20,000, even thousands of Malachim or angels. The Master is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So the Most High has 20,000, even thousands or 200,000, however much that is, Malachs in their chariots. So the clouds are chariots, whatever. They're interchangeable, and there's a whole bunch of them. So I'm gonna go to Isaiah 66 real quick, verse 17.
Okay, here it goes. Okay.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree, in the midst eating swine's flesh, and the abomination of the mouth shall be consumed by them. Oh, 15, my bad. For behold, Yahuwah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So again, the clouds, the chariots, they're coming. When they come with fire. There's no cloud that has fire. It's some type of craft. Again, we were born into the deception. So, John, can you read Enoch 2?
Behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon them and destroy the wicked and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him.
So, he's coming with his saints. So we know
It's
that
quoted by Jude verses 14 and 15.
Yeah, can you read verse 14? Well, go ahead. What's your question?
I'm just trying to think. He said he was coming in 4 corners. Was it 4 corners?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to, because that's where his elect are.
But he says 4 corners.
Mm-hmm.
It can be quarters or corners, either one. It depends on the writer. Why?
I was just thinking something. Like the corners, like circles don't have corners.
you talking about the globe? No, he walks on the circuit of the earth. So no matter how it is, I don't. Can you read Jude? What did you say? Verse 14.
14 and 15.
Wait, where'd it go? Okay, there it goes. Oh, do you want to read?
Mhm.
Oh, my bad. Okay, it's Jude, verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesies of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints.
And he's coming with his saints, right? And we know that the dead in Hamashiach that rise are also his saints. We know the saints are the Israelites, right? We all know that, right? Okay, the saints are the Israelites. But he's coming with them, and we know from different scriptures he's coming in the cloud, or clouds, if you will, right? So I just want to show you that. Oh, man. So, again, the pre-tribulation is people are raptured out prior to it. What Yahushua said, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies flee to the mountains, we know, so it's not before it. Middle tribulation is right before it happens in some 3.5 year period. But Yahushua also said, what? He that endured into the end, the same shall be saved. So the closest one that Christians almost get right would be the post-tribulation, after the tribulation, because the Bible literally says after the tribulation of those days. So the sun will be darkened and the moon will give her light, right? But they're all false. All that tribulation nonsense. There is no saving out of the tribulation. There's not. Because times and dividing times, it's not a 7-year period. And we're about to get into that. So I just wanted to go over this real quick. Now, we're finally getting to Daniel. So this is where they get this whole tribulation thing. So, Jude, if you don't mind, can you read these verses for me? Because I'm so dehydrated.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time.
Wait, so whoever this, quote unquote, is what they try to say Antichrist is, right? He's going to do, what is he going to do?
Speak against the Most High.
He's going to speak, okay, and what else? And he's going to do what?
And wear out the saints of the Most High.
He's going to wear them out, the saints of the Most High.
And change the times and the laws
Right.
that has been given. Ha! Yeah.
That's, you start to see what I'm saying? Like, people aren't paying attention to all this because there's no sacrifices right now. Nobody's going to a temple and sacrificing. They're trying to set it up in Israel. That's not even the real place.
No.
That's not even the real location of
The
it.
temples have been destroyed. There's only one remaining temple.
What's that?
Us.
Huh, there you go. Okay. See, you're already picking up on stuff. Okay, you can keep reading. You're picking up. Yeah,
Let
that's
me
what
get
I'm talking
a drink.
about. I'm dehydrated too.
Ah, man. And after the 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself.
Because
and the
now,
people.
hold on. Now you know who Messiah is, right? You know, he's cut off. He didn't die for himself. He died for the world of Yeshua. Okay, keep on.
But not for himself, and the people of the prince shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
Okay. Now, Yahushua, we just got done reading where he said that when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, know that the desolation is nigh. So the people of the prince isn't talking about the Messiah. This is talking about the destroyer, the son of perdition, is what it's actually talking about. Okay, keep going.
Excuse me. And the end, therefore, shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war, desolations are determined.
Now, the abomination of desolation, which we're about to get into in a minute, we're not really going to get into it because that's on the other one that I got to upload. Actually, I fixed the volume quality and then upload it. But it said that desolations are determined, right? And in 7 it says that he was given unto the people for a times, and dividing the times. Desolations are determined until the end of the war. Desolations are determined, right? Okay, keep going. Just remember that.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
This is the 7-year tribulation that they try to talk about. That's in the future coming. That's what they think is coming, right? Because he's confirming some type of covenant, right? Keep going.
And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation. Is that oblation?
Yep.
To cease.
Okay. Who's sacrificing goats and lambs and anything right now?
No one.
I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Right. Because again, the Levitical priesthood has not been reset up, and there's no temple like we talked about. You know, the temple, like you said, is like we are the temple now, right? Which we've always been the temple. We just didn't understand that. But for this tribulation, this has to happen, and this has to happen.
What you mean? Is it already happened?
It already happened.
Christ and the oblation.
We were born into the deception. It already happened.
Because nobody is sacrificing
Nobody.
anymore. Can't.
You can't.
I mean, you can, but it'd be in vain. But
And so when you see in the midst of the week, you got to take that out, because that's not saying a literal, because they're using different prophecies where a day is as a year, as a year.
So 1 week would be 7 years.
Right, and that's why in the middle of the week. And
See, oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
now the consummation is like when the bride finally, marries the husband, or Yahusha, right? The body, or Now, we went over the word perdition, because the man of sin is the son of perdition. So technically, the first son of perdition would have been Cain, because he did what? He killed Abel. Perdition means to to destroy, to kill, to make desolate. So the consummation is at the very end. So we know that this is not a 7-year period, because the oblation and the sacrifice ceased long ago. Because in the time of the Maccabees, which it's early in here, we'd have to go, where is that in Maccabees? But anyway, in the time of the Maccabees, all that ended up ceasing. And then the Maccabees ended up rededicating the temple and getting it back. And then the Romans came, and the Greeks and Romans, they merged together, right? And then the Romans did the same thing. They made it illegal for anyone to call themselves quote unquote Jew, or to do anything in the law, sacrifice, all this stuff.
It was illegal to uphold the Sabbath day.
So what I'm telling you, we were born in this deception, because everyone's waiting for a 7-year period that doesn't exist. At least not in that time frame. Okay. So now, so the Greeks and Romans, they became one empire in 27 BC. Now, we know that Yahusha wasn't born until at least probably anywhere between 3 to 7 BC. Somewhere around there. So even Yahusha was born into it. But they'd already become one people. And Edom is always behind a lot of this. So they're strongly in part of that. So now, so we have read Daniel 7 verse 25, right? Let's get a little bit more context. Let's go up to 23. Can you read that?
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down.
Wait. So the fourth kingdom
Shall be diverse.
is going to, if you devour something, you just destroyed it. You just ruined it, right? You made it desolate, right?
All gone.
And tread it down. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the heathen or Gentiles until times and violent times, or until the times of Gentiles are fulfilled. This is where they're pulling it from. That's what even Yahushua was pulling it from, was Daniel, right? And breaking pieces. Keep going. Keep reading.
And break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall arise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first. And he shall subdue 3 kings.
So we know verse 25 on that. I just want to give you a little bit more context, because we're going to go a little bit deeper now. We're getting ready to go to Daniel chapter 8, because sometimes you got to keep reading to get full context. Okay. So, the abomination of desolation, real quickly. Originally, when it happened in Maccabees' time, Antiochus, after he retook it, this is what he actually did. This is from Babylon to Timbuktu. The army of Antiochus marched into Palestine, Yisrael, to support Menelaus, and the leader of the pro-Syrian party. As a result, many Jews were killed. Others escaped to the hills and to Egypt. Only those Jews that supported Antiochus' policies remained in Jerusalem. An edict was promulgated interdicting the observance of the holidays, which is what we still do now. We celebrate holidays instead of what? Holy days, right? Mm-hmm. The Sabbath and circumcision. A statue of Jupiter was erected therein. The abomination. And so whoever came and destroyed and made desolate, of course they erect something, some kind of pagan thing. So in the time of the Antiochus Epiphanes, it was the statue of Jupiter. And when Titus and the Romans came and did it, what they ended up doing was they ended up putting, their banner or mark in the ground, and of course it was an eagle. Imagine that in the Roman days. Imagine that. That's crazy, right? That's why they love that flag and that eagle so much. So I just wanted to show y'all that. Man. So now let's go to Daniel. And Jessica, can you read Daniel 8? We're gonna read verses 8 through 25.
Okay. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great towards the south, and towards the east, and towards the pleasant land, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. He magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Wait, hold on. So whoever this goat is, right, the he-goat comes from the west, right? He's basically exalted himself to the host of heaven, angels, or even the Malachim, or that are messengers of the Most High. And then he did what? He caused what disease? Because even to the prince of the host. Who's the prince of the host? Yahushua. Mm-hmm. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. We don't do a daily sacrifice today. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. We don't have the temple anymore.
Right.
It's been cast down. So keep going.
Okay. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it...
Okay. The what to the ground?
Truth.
Hey, June, can you go to Psalms 119? No, I got it. No, you know what? I'll get it. There's 2 I want to get. Psalms 119. So I'm going to read verses 142 and 151, I think. 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. In case people don't believe that. 151. Psalms 119, verse 151. Thou art near, O Yahuwah, and all thy commandments are truth. So he cast down the law of the Most High. That's why they don't want us to try to keep these things. Okay, keep going.
And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Yeah, practiced and prospered. Yep.
Okay, because that spelled weird, but and it practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long should be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression and desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Wait, to be what?
Trodden underfoot.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Times, and dividing of times. It's the desolation of the Israelites. When we went into captivity in 70 AD, the Arabian slave trade, the Berber slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. There are desolations, and they are the times of the Gentiles. They are not. It's not a literal 7-year period or 3.5-year period. We've been lied to. Okay, keep going.
And he said unto me, is that where I'm at? Yeah. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass, when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright.
Hold on, real quick. So he said that this vision is to the time of the end. So all of this stuff that's been going on that he's talking about, how the sanctuary will be made desolate. There ain't gonna be no daily sacrifice and this and that. That's until the time of the end, and people are still waiting for a 7-year period that doesn't exist. That's why a lot of people are gonna get caught up in this madness. Like this whole left behind doctrine is trash. It's not real. Don't believe in it. I used to believe in it. All praise to the Most High Yah for waking me up. Even thinking like, yeah, when Jerusalem is compassed with armies and this and that, I want to be taken. I don't want to be left. We didn't know better. I was taught the same thing, and I didn't know better. But we'll get into that here in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know where I left off. Oh, thank you so much. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
Who?
Grecia.
So, the abomination of desolation, the son of perdition, the man of sin, the one that destroys, that makes desolate, is Grecia, or the Greco-Roman Empire. And they're still ruling. That's why we have a House and we have a Senate.
Yeah.
But that's why the president and the governors, all of them are related.
Yeah.
That's that's the man of sin. People are waiting for one literal person, and I'm not going to say that they're not going to make some futile attempt. But if you have a temple without the people, young king, get back up. Get off the table. But if you have a temple without the right people, what does it matter? Because matter of fact, when all the Yahudim actually come back and all the Israelites come back, they're not supposed to go into captivity again. They're not supposed to go into captivity again. So, all right, keep going, my bad.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the later time of their kingdom, where the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Now that's generally speaking, it's like, I would say those are the popes, but people have different interpretations of that. Keep going.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
So he's going to destroy everyone in the world, or the Israelites?
The mighty and holy people.
Okay. He's going to destroy others as well, but...
Yeah. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
That's how he's going to exalt himself, like as he is the Most High, or to the prince, because that's why they've been programming us to think that whenever this alien force comes, that's why Power Rangers, there's always these alien forces coming from the sky. You know, when I tell you the deception is deep. Like I said, Independent Day, like all these Avengers movies, all these TV shows, Agents of Shield, The Flash, they have all these crossovers where there's always this big alien threat and they come in spaceships.
What was that one movie?
Huh?
There was a movie, I forgot what it's
Signs.
called. But it had had to do with
Fifth
the
Wave?
alien ship. I don't know what it was, but when they came, they weren't taking everybody. They were only picking up certain people
Mm-hmm.
at different. You know what I'm talking
And then
about?
I was-
And at the end, they took the little girl and little boy,
Oh,
and the Earth was destroyed or
The
something.
Knowing.
Yeah, that.
And then
Uh,
Shauna,
Nicolas
she
Cage.
sent, and I'm mad I didn't bring it, but I have a clip of it. So there was a movie, I want to say it was either in the 90s or the 80s made, to where there was this big alien force that came, but they only came because they wanted us.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It had not Sidney Poitier, but
No, the other
Another
one.
black
Yeah, the other
actor
brother.
in there.
Yeah, the other Aki. So yeah, because they know. Why do you think
and they
there's
had
so
taken
much?
a vote whether or not if the black people should leave or stay. So a vote was taken,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the majority ruled that all the black people can leave.
Well, for one of the main reasons why, of course, I'm not going to show it in that movie, because the Most High, He ain't really giving them no chance.
Right.
Because just like He made the Egyptians let us go, everywhere we are is Mitzrayim, is Egypt. They're going to have to let us go. Because the tribulation period is the desolations of our people, which were the times of the Gentiles. Nobody ever even broke that down, explained that to me. All praise to the Most High for that. But knowing that, so what comes next and what comes on them, I don't even feel sorry for them. Because they had a chance. They've had a chance. They could have gave us reparations. They could have treated us better.
Right.
But still, they slay us and find themselves not guilty. So, His judgments are verity, and they're from the foundations of the world. So, let's go to Daniel 12, and this is where the Most High actually showed me, the actual revelation. We're going to read verses 1 through 2 and 6 through 7. June, when you get it, go ahead.
What do you say?
Daniel 12,
Mm-hmm.
1 through 2.
6 through 7.
2 and 6 through 7. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
The elect, that when the angels are sent to the four corners to gather His elect, this is where Yahushua and all the disciples and all the apostles, including Paul, is actually pulling from. Right, this verse in Daniel. Because again, it says that the tribulation, or the trouble in that one, that day is going to be so great, but we are going to be saved out of it. So this Christian rapture idea, get it out your head. Now, those of the other nations that cleave to the house of Yaakov and cleave to the covenant of the Most High, of course, like once we leave this place, and because we have to go, a lot of us, we still have to go to the wilderness, but that's a whole nother thing. But then Isaiah 14 says what? We take our captors captive. People don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that at all. So keep going, my bad.
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
So now, according to Revelations 20, we know that only the ones that died in Hamashiach are going to rise once we meet, Yahushua in the clouds or in the chariots, right? So the ones that don't rise, because there's a 1,000-year period where Yahushua has got to reign. So the ones that rise to everlasting contempt, those are the ones more than likely. Well, no, those are the ones that don't rise then, more than likely. But some of them, just because you didn't die, for the martyrdom of Yahushua, doesn't mean that you won't rise. But it just means you have to go through that second judgment or whatever. So keep going. 6 through 7.
And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I hear the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time.
This is one scripture they never go to. Check this out. This is how I know. This is how I was able to see. I was like, you just got to keep reading it. Keep going. Go ahead.
It shall be for a time, times, and half.
Or dividing the times, right?
And when he shall have accomplished
The what?
to scatter the power of the holy people.
So they have to go
All
into
these things
captivity.
shall be finished.
The time, and the dividance of times is us going into captivity. I'm like, what are people talking about? They're thinking it's a literal 7-year period. No, that's not what it is. And I was like, wow. So literally, the most I showed me like, this past week. Well, yeah, it was earlier this week. I'm like, yo, that's wild, because I didn't get to work on this till last night. And I'm like, because matter of fact, I think we're about to go over some of these scriptures real quick. Yeah. I was like, man, people are going to be lost. They have no clue about what's coming. Quickly, Matthew 24, verses 29 through 31. Go ahead, June.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
So hold on, real quick. So that means no pre-tribulation, no post, no mid-tribulation, right?
Mhm.
Immediately after, okay.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Keep on.
Wow.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Okay.
Wow.
Mark 13, verses 24 through 27. Real quick. Go ahead, Joseph.
Oh, nothing. I was just.
I said, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know you changed it. Oh, okay. But in those days, after that.
Wait. After what? After that what?
Tribulation.
That means no pre-trib, no mid-trib. And we know that he said, he that endureth until the end shall be saved. It's a body bag. Keep going.
The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven.
Okay.
It's like exactly the same. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I always like to go to every account so we get the full picture, right? Okay. June, can you read this? But start from verse 23 and go all the way through 28.
From 23?
Yeah. It's not up there. It's Luke 21.
Luke 21. Start at 23, right?
Yep.
Together.
Drop that phone.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon his people. People.
What people?
This people.
Again, because we just read it in Daniel that the times and dividing of times was what? Us going into captivity. This people are the ones getting afflicted, right? Keep on.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Times, dividing of time.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
So every Christian's redemption draweth nigh. No, he's talking to Israelites. Because I could have put a lot more precepts in here. I'm like, this will probably be enough. Because you can go to Joel, you can go to Amos. There's a lot of stuff I could have added into Micah, all these different places. But I just wanted to show y'all.
Come here. Right.
That again, matter of fact, I'm going to go back to that because that Daniel 12, man. And I heard, verse 7, and I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a dividing, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Times, and dividing of times of us going into captivity worldwide. That's what it is. Right? And so, now that's the end of this. I just want to show y'all because, again, what I was raised into, we were always taught, yeah, well, when this happens and this happens, I don't want to be left. I don't want to be left. I don't want to be left, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, can everybody go to 2 Esdras 13 real quick?
What is it?
Esdras. It's in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
Because this will be the last time we go over and we can call it. Junior press out and we out this one.
2 Esdras. Okay. And
13. Let's just read. I think we're gonna read verses 1 through 40. So you start and then me.
You said 13.
2 Esdras 13. Yep.
1 through 40.
Whoa. Okay.
You'll see why. You'll see why they took this book out of the Bible.
And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice. Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the heel was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips of flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks of tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid.
So who do you think that is? Who is that man?
God be the Most High.
Yeah.
Through who?
Through his people.
No. The Most High through who? Who's he doing that through?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who's he doing that through?
Yeah. Who's the second?
I don't
His
even
son?
remember.
His son.
Some dude
Right,
that
okay.
got to see.
Keep going. Okay, keep going.
After I saw,
Mm.
afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some brought out of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked, and said, Thou hast shewed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Shew me now yet the interpretation of this dream.
Okay, yeah, Jessica, you start reading now, please.
For as I conceive in my understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days and much.
Hold on. Because, like, remember, Yahushua said, woe to what the women that give suck in those days. I pray that your flight be on what, the winter or the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day, right? Or holy day, right? Okay, watch this. Keep on.
Hold on. Woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more. Woe unto them that are not left behind.
Wait. So, woe unto them that are left in those days, and much more woe to those that are not left. So, the ones that are actually taken, it's a worse thing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand, I have the things that are laid up in the later days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they coming into great perils, many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet is it easier for him that is in danger to come into these things, than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said,
Whoa, read that one. Read that whole verse again.
Yet it is easy for him that is in danger to come into these things, than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said,
There's people thinking there's going to be a rapture to get you out of that. He just said it's easier to do what? To see the things that are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And it's better because more woe to those that are taken or left. My bad.
The interpretation of the vision shall I shew thee, and I will open unto thee the things that that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself, that they be fallen into danger, are such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they be dead that be dead.
Wait, what?
They that are left behind will be more blessed
Than that be dead.
And you see how Yahushua was pulling from Idris, he that endureth until the end, the same should be saved. What did he say in 23? He that shall endure the peril in that time. So, of course, he added more to it. But we got this thing, we're just ready, we're just getting ready for this rapture. It's coming, we're going to be saved out of it. No. And you don't want to be saved out of it that way that you're talking. Because those that are taken are going to be slaughtered, killed. When he comes as a thief in the night, going to be killing them. That's why there's two in the field, one taken, the other left. It's not saying that the one that's left wasn't righteous. It said that person's actually still alive. Because more blessed are they that are what? Left.
Yeah. Wow. Where am I at? Therefore, what's left behind. Okay. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind and fire and storm.
Wait, hold on. My bad. You read 26 too fast. Because again, we were taught that, no, I don't want to be left behind. This is that. What does verse 26 say?
The same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind.
So the ones that are left are the ones that get ordered, right? Or the order of Melchizedek. Okay, keep going.
You want to read 27 again too?
No, I'll start reading. You're good. My
Okay.
bad. I keep cutting you off. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth came a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, nation against nation, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, kingdom against kingdom, right? Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, Yahusha, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, finally, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto me. Whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, these are the 10 tribes. But I just wanted y'all to see that. You want to be left. Now, when they actually come in the chariot, God will get you. Because whenever they come, there's going to be, I know, because I had a rapture dream. You know, my parents, they've had rapture dreams. All these people have rapture dreams. But as I'm remembering now, in the dream that I had, it wasn't that all of a sudden out of nowhere all these people were just boomed up. You know, I literally was being chased, and it was like people of all these nations were trying to kill me. And it was like I just knew I just had to get to this one place, this one point. And then I got to this one point, and in the dream it kind of felt like going up like a beam me up Scotty moment. But then now thinking about it, I kind of felt like I was running up an invincible ramp or something like that. But then like I saw like certain family members and certain people or whatever that I knew were really doing the work or whatever, doing it. And this was like when I was, I don't know, a kid or whatever. What I'm saying is, on one side, he's going to put us in certain places so where we can be secured, you know, a place of safety. But again, that thief in the knife and this is that, like, leave all that Christian dogma alone. But that's really all I got. You know, traditions of men, nation against nation, the beginning of time, part 2, the Christian rapture.
Did you put this in the slide?
No, I didn't have time because like that whole chapter, I can't put all that in there. I mean, I can add it.
No, I was just saying,
the verses.
Just put the verse.
Okay.
Yeah, like 2nd Idris 13.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Wait a minute now.
Yeah.
You don't have to write it all in.
Thank you for being good today.
Put that in there as a footnote.
Can you say
Okay, hold on. Let me try.
Thank you for being good today.
Because what?
That is
Yeah, we're
real
going
knowledgeable
to.
right there.
Let me add.
Add something here. Go tell your brother to come here.
Hey, Devin. So I want to say shalom to everybody. YAH'S Assembly. We out here. You can do that.
You were so good with that gift. I love
What button? Play button?
it. What?